Saturday, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. All right, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. It is May the 14th, 2022, day 108 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1126. We have been present all of those days, with the exception, and the exception days are not even counted, because those are the Sabbath and the feast days and the 1-week hiatus I had to take. All right, y'all, today we're going to pick back up in Oahspe. We're going to probably, I think we might finish the book of Sue today. I think, I'm almost certain, might be, not really. We might. Pick up reading the book of Sue on page 90. And then if we have time, we will jump over to the meditation book and pick up where we left off at yesterday on page 121. So let's get this party started. Right. Father, you know who it is. Every day we here on our post. Okay, y'all. Chapter 4, Book of Sue. When the time of the festival had come, there congregated in Horeb, besides the Etherian host, more than 1,000 million souls to witness and to participate in the ceremonies. Sue said, "Here is wisdom and folly, false gods and their dupes, laziness and industry, swiftness and sloth. Yea, here is a world worthless before Jehovah. And why? Simply for lack of discipline and harmony. Everyone is for self, and none are producers for the general good. Alas, they are the same as mortals, but stripped of flesh. They are of no value to one another, and consequently of no value to themselves. Now will I show thee, O God, that these hapless beings, with no joy in life, nor hope of resurrection, shall become a great glory to the Father and his kingdoms." God said, "Pity them, O Father. It is over 1,000 years since they have been visited by the higher heaven. Many of them are learned, but doubting if there be other heavens, save the plateau of the atmosphere of the earth. Millions and millions of them have never seen an Etherian. Alas, I fear for them." Sue said, "Fear not, O God. They are as mortar in my hands. Neither shall there be preaching to them, nor praying for them. They are tired of these things. But I will found a new light amongst them, and it shall speak for us. Hear me, then, and with the populace I shall be as one that is unknown. Call then thy Essenars, and thy trumpeters and harpists, and all the musicians belonging to thy kingdom, and to the kingdoms of thy lords, and let the procession begin. For in all public matters, those who are at the front, if wise, can lead on forever. Be politic. Be politic, therefore, and shape the populace, whilst the self-gods are amazed at the immensity of the host assembled. God did as commanded, and the people saw there was a head to the proceedings. Sue said, "Send thy marshals and decorators to follow close after the musicians, distributing raiment to all who will follow in the procession. My Etherian hosts are advised. They will stand in the way, and with marvelous swiftness provide the raiment. And all possible extravagant colors and fabrics and hats and ornaments shall be distributed, and gratuitously. My host shall be arrayed in plain white, and they shall march not, but be as servants and workmen. And after arrayed, it has reference number 3, or it down at the bottom it says arranged. Shayla, hey girl, hey. Sue said, send thy marshals and decorators to follow close after the musicians, distributing raiment to all who follow in the procession. My Etherian hosts are advised. They will stand in the way, and with marvelous swiftness provide the raiment. And all possible extravagant colors and fabrics and hats and ornaments shall be distributed, and gratuitously. My hosts shall be arrayed in plain white, and they shall march not, but be as servants and workmen. And when the atmospherians have played and sung over all the boundaries of Horrid, then shall my Etherian band sing and play and start the dance. All these things were done, and from the very start to the termination of the music, there was harmony in every place and corner amongst the 1,000 millions assembled. Nor was there ever so extravagantly equipped a multitude in the earth's heaven, and so completely captivated were the people. Their enthusiasm was boundless. Then came the Etherian dance, the which so far surpassed the capacity of the atmospherians that not one could join in. Neither could they take part in the Etherian music. So the atmospherians looked on, confounded by the excellence of that which was before their eyes. Thus ended the first day's proceedings, to which described in full would require a large book. So the people were called to refreshment, and the Etherians, still dressed in white, and as servants and laborers, provided the viands. For they had previously made convenience for a supply of material, and so easily and with such swiftness did they their work, that now for the first time did the more learned of atmosphere begin to observe them with surprise and wonder. Presently, inquiries were made as to who they were and whence they came. For so Jehovah created man, that when of his own accord he admired the excellence of his neighbor, he goeth to the extreme in praising him. So God said, on the morrow shall a new entertainment be given, and new raiment and new viands for the feast. And the host shouted with great vigor and praise. Then the people mingled together to converse on all they had witnessed, neither comprehended they the object, save for pleasure only. When the next day came, the Etherians had been divided into groups, and the rites of the ancients and of the hosts of Oahspe and Partha were announced, requiring extravagant toilets and millions of atmospherians as assistants. So great was their ambition to take part that only by promises of something in the next rites could the marshals make selections. Su, Jehovah's son, had previously stationed signal bells at remote distances from one another, but connected them so that the sounds would answer quickly. And in the intervening places, extemporized forests and waterfalls were arranged. And near the middle space, 1,000 columns of fire were erected. So in the morning of the second day, when all these glorious scenes were completed, and the Etherians, still plain and in white, stationed about the atmosphere, were more confounded than ever, and more loudly shouting in their praise. First came the birth-rites, then marriage-rites, then death-rites, and the first resurrection, then the Rites-Of-Harmony. And the play represented a million of Etherians who went to a corporal world and had followed it through its life and to death and resurrection, its darkness and inharmony and terrible suffering in atmosphere, ending with a tableau of a great sun of light descending to deliver them into everlasting paradise. Let me read that again. This is amazing. You know what's, I wish my husband was out here in the shower. This is amazing. Last night, we were talking about, Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. You know, I saw you come in late yesterday, but I didn't even see it. The thing just kind of automatically scrolled up. Tylane, hey girl, hey. Listen, this is blowing my mind. I did not read ahead. So last night, my husband and I were talking, you know, was about to move into our home and everything, and then we were talking about our children as they grow. And you know, we have Elijah, he's the oldest one. He's 25, married with 3 children of his own. And then we got Jeremiah. He just turned 18. It's like all our children, it's like all of us are hitting different phases of life. And we started talking about something I learned when I was transitioning throughout the religious sects and just different things I was picking up and learning. But when I started learning about the bar and the bat mitzvah, right, I started really learning. And this was when I was like going to the like the temple and the synagogue, you know, with the Jewish people, right? But there was some really good things that I learned, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, no matter where you traverse in life, right? So as I started learning about like the bar mitzvah and the bat mitzvah, it's like the whole coming of age ceremony, right? To where the young boys, babe, oh my gosh, listen. Look, you remember what we was talking about last night about the coming of age thing and setting that up? This in verse 16 and 17 today is talking about exactly that. I did not read ahead in this book. I've never seen this passage a day in my life. Listen, this is just really, it is astounding me. So just a quick overview without making it too long. So while I was going while we were going to the temple, and they had a few of them, right? And I like attended one. And after I attended one, I just started kind of researching a little bit. But the first time I had ever been introduced to like rites of adulthood was actually when my family, now this is way before we got married, I was still in high school, and my was it you that invited me to a cotillion? There was a cotillion. Okay, so I didn't go to that one. I was like here already. But I'm talking about, or maybe it was my mama and one of her friends. But anyway, in Illinois they had cotillions, and it's a coming of age ceremony. Yeah. That was like the first time. Hey girl, hey, we had been exposed to that, but it stuck with me. And the cotillions, this particular cotillion was for a girl, right? It's kind of like the closest thing that we probably have here. In America, it's like the Sweet 16, but it's not really, because you're really supposed to have it like when the children are leaving childhood, adolescence into early adulthood, like the puberty time frame, right? So it was beautiful, and it was like this whole ceremony type dance, letting you know you were leaving one phase of life and entering into the next. And here's what you're going to experience in this next phase of life. And they set it up with ceremony just to kind of, you know, it makes it something memorable, and it should stick with them as they go through life. Like we see it in different movies. Like we was talking about all this last night. You see it on different movies, how like maybe in Africa, they're coming of rites ceremony for the young men. They take them all the way out into the jungle somewhere, and then they got to find their way back home, right? So just talking about that, I was like, you know, it would be amazing if we could reinstitute our own family ritual when our children come of age. Just start that, let that be something that we do, right? Because all of the different things that we've experienced in life, and our oldest son at the juncture he's at, and with the things he's experiencing in his life and in marriage, and then it's like Jeremiah at this age where it's like, okay, now do I leave the house or do I go out and become a man? But I think I'm prepared, but not quite, because I really need like all this to be able to do this. And can I just stay with you till I get married type thing? And like all of these things that happen, right? So the bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah was the same type thing. It's this ceremony that, first of all, it the father and the mother should be present, right? And guys, it's really like symbolizing, it's like the different cycles in life, just like before we come to the earth, right? Before we come here, before we even carried in our father's body, it's like if you look at the overall picture, before we come here, we're with the Father, right? Or with the Great Spirit. Then it's like, okay, now I'm going to pass you to your mother, and she's going to carry you for a period of time, right? So when our souls come here to be birthed into the earth, you can also see that process when the man gives his seed to the woman, right? I've carried you up into this point, but now it's time for you to enter a different phase in life, right? So I'm going to hand you to your mother, and that process between husband and wife is conceptual. The act of intimacy, and then the father passes his seed to the woman, who would be the mother, right? And she carries that child for that phase in life, just like the earth receive our souls here, and our spirits are encased in this womb that we call flesh, right? So now we have a time to grow and develop. It's the same thing, that same process, that coming of age ceremony process. I think that's something that we really need to reinstitute here in America, because the West has really lost that. And even though things are crazy all over the world, in some places, they don't struggle with some of the things that the people in the West struggle with, because they've lost identity of who they are and what they are, right?
People don't want. I mean, I think you set your own trends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Within your own family. You set your own, quit following, you know what I mean, what they have always done it this way. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with some people. They so used to, we always done it this way. So it's like, don't mess it up, you know what I mean? And then,
And it's like somebody need to come and mess it up, because everybody's being messed up because this hasn't been messed up.
You're right, right.
Yeah, so just kind of like make a long story short, because I can talk about this all day, literally just thinking about it all night. Thinking about reinstituting something for our children just kind of makes that solid, like reassures them that you are a man and you are enough, right? And give them just kind of
sense of identity.
Yeah, it's a sense of identity. And that's why I kind of got off on my story a little bit. Okay, so during the bar mitzvah or the bat mitzvah or the coming of age ceremony, it's both of the parents are there, but it's normally the father that kind of takes back the reign from the mother, right? He entrusted the seed with the woman for a period of time so they can be nurtured until they come of age. Now it's time for you to come out here and watch me and see what I do. It's time for you to begin this trek in life, this walk as a man, or it could be as a young woman. And still with the daughters, the fathers solidify identity also in the little girls, right? And if you had these type of things, I don't believe you would have a lot of like teenage pregnancies and things. They're lacking identity. They're searching for something. And those things that they didn't get from their father, that identity at that age of that puberty transition, that's when a lot of people, at that puberty transition, most of the time, that's when people, they get on that, am I supposed to be a boy? Am I supposed to be a girl? Like, I can clearly remember when I went through that phase. I remember when I started having those thoughts when I was early in life. And I kind of just went through this. And everybody has. You kind of like go through this little tomboyish phase. Not that you have to, and not all people do. But people go through this phase and they handle it in different ways. But if you don't have parents that learn and understand what's happening at this point, the parents can either push you over the side or help you stay on the path that you should be on. Like, parents should be learned enough to notice, okay, you've hit this phase in life. When you get here, and your guidance your voice should be a source of guidance from the time they enter into this world. Like, welcome to earth, baby girl, or welcome to earth, son. You've reached another phase in this life, not just flesh, but your spirit, the real you. This is another phase in school that we have to go through, right? So if that was just implemented or re-implemented or just started afresh, do your own thing based on your family's personality, and then kind of like in Kanto, right? In Casito, you just make it your own family thing. and make it big, like y'all, like we got this big surprise birthday. Like, hype this thing up when it's time for them to reach that phase in life, or that would be like puberty, where the boys start getting their hair and the voice start cracking and changing, where they get that deeper voice, and the girls get their cycles. You know, hype this up. Let it be like a big family thing. Invite the family. You know, we about to have this cotillion for Isaiah. You know, he's about to enter into a new phase of life. We're here to let him know that there are more that are with him than those that be against him. And we're going to reiterate to them that you're going to get to certain places and phases in life where you're going to feel like you are alone. But remember, this time, it should be a time that they can look back and pull and gain energy from, and help them and help guide them through life, and let them know as you reach different phases and places in life, you're going to have different teachers. They're going to be different mentors and guides along this path as you grow in this phase of school, right? Don't discount the wisdom that you get from any of them, whether it's bad wisdom and you know not to go that way, or it's the good wisdom to help you stay along the straight and narrow path, right? Oh my gosh, y'all. Mom, shalom. Robin, Shabbat shalom. Jan, grand rising. So these whole two verses it just kicked in this conversation me and my husband was having last night, right? This is just so good. Okay, I'm gonna just read it again. This whole ceremony they're doing. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I'll go to verse 16. Su, Jehovah's son, had previously stationed signal bells at remote distances from one another, but connected them so that the sounds would answer quickly, and in the intervening places, extemporized forests and waterfalls were arranged, and near the middle space, 1,000 columns of fire were erected. Right? So literally, when we're born into this phase of school, this life, everything is already kind of preset out. Those people you're going to run into, those situations you will encounter in life, right? And if you keep the wisdom, if your eyes are open and you carry that wisdom along with you from your previous teachers, even wisdom that you're not going to need for now, but when you get ahead, especially when you get to the phase of marriage, right? First of all, you should have the wisdom to be able to pick a mate, right? That'll be a good life partner for you, where you two can continue to grow together. And it really should be somebody else who comes from a background who understands this and has walked through or had some good teachers. And we don't always get that, right? People come from two different phases of the world. That's not to say it can't work. It can, if you have two willing parties ready to do life together. No matter what, we're going to stick together. Even if we can't look at each other, let's stand back to back and not separate. We're going to keep moving. You just going to probably have to lead this time. You know, when you get a little weary, we'll turn around and I'll go, right? Get you some rest, but I'll keep moving us ahead until we can go arm in arm together in ranks together and go full speed ahead, because two are better than one, right? Bruh. This is so good. Listen. All right, next verse. So in the morning of the second day, the whole point of saying all that is like before we come in here, everything is kind of like predestined and set out like an obstacle course for the spirits to get through. And it's designed to make you stronger. It's designed to make you wiser. It's designed to develop all your faculties, spirit, soul, and body, right? And then when you get to the end, I like something that the initiates of the flame says. It says the graduates become the teachers. Oh, y'all, it's so good. I can't wait till we get to that little book. Okay. So in the morning of the second day, when all these glorious scenes were completed, and the Etherians, still plain and in white, stationed about, the Atmospherians were more confounded than ever, and more loudly shouting in their praise. And here we go right here. First came the birth-rites, then marriage-rites, then death-rites, and the first resurrection, then the rites of harmony. And the play represented 1,000,000 of Etherians who went to a corporal world and followed it through its life and to death and resurrection, its darkness and inharmony and terrible suffering in atmosphere, ending with a tableau of a great sun of light descending to deliver them into everlasting paradise. And that's kind of like what we was just talking about. You're going to enter here and you're going to go through all these things, but you're going to have wisdom along the way. Follow it through. You're going to have different phases, right? You got your birthrights where you enter. Welcome to the world, baby girl. Right? Or it's time you got here, my son, we've been waiting on you to arrive, right? The birthrights, and then the marriage rites, and then the death rites, and then the first resurrection, right? And then the rites of harmony, where you become one again with the unseen world before you came to this place. So the grand was the spectacle, and so sublime the music and the spoken words, that the host of Horrid wept and laughed and shouted and prayed as if their souls would break with joy. Thus ended the second day, and so complete was the glorious work that every soul had sworn a solemn oath to forsake the earth and lower heaven forever. Then God announced for the third day the display of Ethereal power. And remember, they're going through all of this because Yah, or in here, he's called Jehovah. He is actually going after the spirits who we would term as evil spirits. We need to draw them away, but we're going to use some wisdom, right? Because I don't want them to stay in that darkened state where they are. They're called familiar spirits and fetals, and those who cling themselves onto mortals that impede their growth process while they're in the earth school. We need to draw them away from them so they can get through here without having to keep repeat this over and over and over again, or become trapped like them, begin to do the same thing that the familiar spirits and the fetals do, right? They impede the process, so we need to draw them away from the earth, but it needs to be on their own accord. So they put together this big play, the spectacle, so to speak, to kind of woo them and kind of trick them, but not really trick them, but for them to have their eyes open to see that there's a better place that you need to be. You've already went through this phase. You need to move to the next place. And because of how you ended here, it determined that you must go here, right? We got to clean you up of all that darkness. But instead of saying it like that, they just put it on like a nice big play and let them see what was going on. Auntie Grand Rising. Okay, listen. So grand was the spectacle, and so sublime the music and the spoken words, that the host of Horrid wept, laughed, and shouted and prayed as if their souls would break with joy. Thus ended the second day, and so complete was the glorious work that every soul had sworn a solemn oath to forsake the earth and lower heaven forever. Then God announced for the third day the display of Ethereal power. And the people were so bewildered already that a child could have led the most stubborn of all. Remember, so like we just said, that he had to get their attention, because it was like, we ain't leaving. We ain't grafting ourselves on the soul of earth. Our family that we left, no, we're going to be with them forever. No, baby, you need to keep growing. Matter of fact, you're what we call the evil, dark demon spirit. So we have to separate you and put you over here. But it wasn't for their destruction like we're taught about in Christianity, where you go and you burn in hell forever. No, it's a place where you become purged and cleansed of all the impurities that are in your spirit, so that you can come forth as a shining bright light and rejoin the dance of souls with the great spirit, right? And the people were so bewildered already that a child could have led the most stubborn of all. For thus Jehovah created man, who, having become much conceited in himself, turned right about and maketh himself a submissive fool. So on the third day, the Etherians displayed their power over the elements of the atmosphere, making corporal substances and dissolving them at pleasure, making light into darkness and darkness into light, weaving fabrics and making diadems and precious stones, gathering viands from the essence of things evaporated up from the earth. And that is like you know how people give sacrifices or incense offerings, and that aroma, that taking that aroma and creating substance from that aroma. Gathering viands from the essence of things evaporated up from the earth, founding plateaus and temples in heaven, making ships and chains and musical instruments, and lastly, the Etherian marshals with 500,000 Etherians turned the winds and sent a heavy shower of rain down to the corporal earth. And all the while, the musicians of the host of Su were discoursing music, the sweetness and grandeur of which surpassed the atmospherians so far that they were as nothing. So because of the exhibition of great power and wisdom, the third day had changed the fortunes and aspirations of every man and woman in the lower heaven, and they were running hither and thither, pleading to be taken as apprentices or servants, pledging themselves to do anything required of them. Neither would they be put off, demanding that half of the next day should be given to initiating them as real beginners in the second resurrection. Let me read that again. Neither would they be put off, demanding that half of the next day should be given to initiating them as real beginners in the second resurrection. Then God spake to them, saying, Ye know not what ye speak. Behold, I have commanded ye for hundreds of years to put away your fine raiment and sparkling gems, and to begin adorning your souls, as to become brides and bridegrooms of the Great Spirit. But ye would not, but strove continually to adorn yourselves, forgetting to labor for those beneath you. Behold, now stand Jehovah's brides and bridegrooms before you. What is their worth compared to yours? Are they not plain? Are ye not decorated? But millions of voices rose up, saying, We will do whatever thou commandest, O God. There is no God like unto thee. Then God spake, saying, Hear me then further. This is to begin the second resurrection, to put away your jewels and diadems and ornaments, and above all things, to forsake self, and henceforth labor for others who are beneath you. If ye do this in a brotherhood, ye are already beginning the second resurrection. Neither is there any other road to wisdom and power. This is so good. Listen, again, the multitude cried out, We will do anything. We have faith. And God answered them, saying, Suffer then a few to be initiated on tomorrow, but be ye patient and of good judgment, slow to resolve, but firm forever. So on the fourth day in the morning, behold, more than 100 million spirits had abandoned their showy raiment and stood arrayed in white, devoid of jewels and diadems, ready to be initiated and take the vows of the second resurrection as above. And accordingly, new music was prepared, and the procession and ceremonies so arranged that the greatest possible glory would be manifested. Canopies were stretched overhead, and arches and columns on the borders of the march, decorated with the flowers and vines, and amidst these, half concealed, were nestled the response singers, who were to speak for and with the initiates, but concealed from view, and afar off were bells and explosives, which were the morning signals. And the glad and solemn sound of the immortal voice came upon the souls of millions, impatient to vow themselves to a new life. And God and his host welcomed them with great joy. So grand and imposing were the ceremonies that ere midday another 100 million came, robed in white, to be initiated also. Neither desired the people any other entertainment. Bruh. And so the initiations were continued on the fifth day, and yet another 100 million applied, also robed in white. And this was continued on the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th days. And lo and behold, 1,000 million angels had taken the vows of the second resurrection. Chapter 5. After this manner were the words of the initiation led by the Etherian host, to wit, God on the throne said, O Eoe, and in parentheses it has Jehovah. It's the name of the Great Spirit. They separated it, right? E-O-IH, and in parentheses they put Jehovah. So here, instead of saying "Oh Jehovah," they actually said the name, which is literally like the sound. Am I going in and out, y'all? My connection on YouTube. I'm gonna just keep going. If so, y'all know the drill. Hop over to Facebook. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to put the link just in case, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this today. Just hop over, and if need be, I will update the video, and we'll put the Facebook video. So let me pull the Facebook link. Let me do it real quick. Just hop over here. Happening here too. Oh, yeah, it's definitely this hotel Wi-Fi, y'all. Hold on. Okay, let me double check this on. Let me see if I can just go to my phone Wi-Fi for Facebook. Okay, so for my phone. Okay, so for my phone that's holding the Facebook video, I just went to my cell phone Wi-Fi, right? So I should be good to the end of the video here on Facebook. So if it's still going in and out over on YouTube, just go to the Facebook link. Matter of fact, let me just say this. Acting up. Jump over to the Facebook link above. Okay, y'all. All right, if it's still acting crazy, just hit the Facebook link and join us over on Facebook. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna just keep going on. Where we at? Oh, yeah, 30 minutes. Ah. Man. You know what? I'm gonna just finish this because it's Saturday. Let me just finish this. It's 3 chapters left, but they're like really short. But it might take us to the end of our time for the day. I'm gonna just do this for the day. I want to finish the book of Sue. It's just so good. I really don't want to leave off on it. Okay, chapter 5, page 92. After this manner were the words of the initiation led by the Etherian host, to wit, God on the throne said, O Eoe, Jehovah, Almighty, Almighty, boundless. And after Almighty has reference number 4, and it still says Almighty, Almighty, exclamation point, Almighty, exclamation point in brackets, boundless, exclamation point. The only difference is the brackets around the second Almighty. Okay, response. How shall I comprehend thee, thou mighty one, God? Oh, wait. Okay, so this is... Okay. So it's God on the throne, and then there's a response, and then God, and then a response, and then God and a response. Okay. God on the throne said, O Eoe, Jehovah, Almighty, Almighty, boundless. Response. How shall I comprehend thee, thou mighty one, God, thou higher than all gods and lords? Response. Who movest the universe with power unlimited? God, creator and controller of the corporal worlds. Response. In whose hands the Etherian firmament is like a fruitful garden, wider than the boundaries of time. God, whose members are all space. Response. Whose members are the all that is within place beyond measure. God, thou, O Eoe, thou fountain and terminus, of all things. Response, Eoe, of whom all things are but parts, attuned to thy will. God, thou all person, O Eoe, incomprehensible. Response, who speakest in the light, whose voice is the progress of the universe. God, Eoe, thou all giver, by giving creative. Response, what are thy secrets, O mighty one, O Eoe, everlasting and greater than magnitude. God, I see nothing in all the universe but thee. All selves are but fractions of thyself, O Eoe. Right? All selves, or meaning all spirits, are nothing but fractions of the bigger great spirit, our creator, right? I see nothing but you. Everything is a fragmentation and a piece of you. This is beautiful. Listen. Response. What are thy secrets, O mighty one, O Eoe, everlasting and greater than magnitude? God, I see nothing in the universe but thee. All selves are but fractions of thyself, O Eoe. Response. Who hath not beholden thee, O Eoe? Thy person is in the east and west and north and south, below and above, far and near. God, who hath not heard thy voice? Who hath not found thy hand that pusheth him along? Response. Without thee, O Eoe, I go not, I move not. I set out to do things of myself and fail utterly. God, what is man before thee, O Eoe? He setteth up a kingdom, and it falleth as a house of straw. Response, O Eoe, how I have wasted my time. My buildings were lighter than chaff. My virtues were but bubbles, and they are burst and gone. God, how will man learn to attune himself to thee, O Eoe? Response, how can I put myself away? How can I put away myself, O Eoe? Have I not said, I cannot put away mine own judgment? God, man saith, I will not put away my judgment, and lo, therein doeth he it. Response, have I not said, to protect myself is the first flaw, and to preserve my own, and to preserve mine own, the highest law? God, I thought at first it seemed like a conversation going back and forth between the God who was currently ruling and between the Great Spirit, right? But now to me it seems like that it's the God who's currently ruling and possibly also the people under the rule under him, and they're both having a conversation or making these statements or asking questions, and they're just kind of like throwing them out there. That's what it seemed like. I'm still trying to pick it up, so I'm going to keep reading. 22. God, when will man learn to attune himself to thee, O Eoe? Response, how can I put away myself, O Eoe? Have I not said I cannot put away my own judgment? God, man saith, I will not put away my judgment, and lo, therein doeth he it. 25. Response, have I not said to protect myself is the first flaw, and to preserve mine own the highest law? God, man assumeth to protect himself because he is without faith in thee, O Eoe, and to preserve his own, which in fact is not his. And here the light fell upon the throne, and Jehovah spake out of the light, saying, I have called thee, O man, from thy youth up. My voice hath never ceased in thine ear. Who can come up to life without me? Who can measure his own footsteps? Behold, he treadeth on my ground. Of all that he has made, the substance is mine. The kingdoms of the earth and the kingdoms of gods and lords in heaven, what are they more than imitations of my works, wherein they imitate me well? I am with them in wisdom, love, and power. Shall a man butt his head against a wall to prove he is greater than his creator? Behold, I came in the ancient days, saying, strive to become one with me, and thou shalt rejoice that I created thee. Strive to set thyself up for thyself, and thy vanity shall in time pierce thee as a two-edged sword. Hear the love of thy Creator, O man, for I made thee with fondness for thy sons and daughters. Of love like my own I gave thee a part. And as thou sendest to thy wayward son, beseeching him to return to thee, so do I bring my messengers from higher worlds to call thee, and that thou mayest not mistake their higher place, I gave them power and wisdom surpassing thee. The voice ceased, and the initiates said, okay, so I get it. Okay, so go back before y'all started speaking in verse 27. So it was the God who was ruling and the initiates, so those who are about to be initiated. It was like God was speaking, and then the initiates were speaking. It's like they were each asking a question, and they just kind of kept going. And when they were done, and when they said their piece, then Yah, or the Great Spirit Eoe, began to answer. And when you say, I know I'm saying Eoe, but it should be like the sound that comes from the inner parts of the depths of your spirit, your soul, like from your diaphragm. Just like Oahspe, it's not a word, it's really a word given so you can pronounce the sound Eoe, right? It's like, right? Okay. And here the light fell upon the throne, and Jehovah spake out of the light, saying, I have called thee, O man, from thy youth up. My voice have never ceased in thine ear. Who can come into life without me? Who can measure his own footsteps? Behold, he treadeth on my ground. Of all that he has made, the substance is mine. The kingdoms of the earth and the kingdoms of gods and lords in heaven, what are they more than the imitations of my work, wherein they imitate me well? I am with them in wisdom, love, and power. Shall a man butt his head against the wall to prove he is greater than his creator? Behold, I came in the ancient days, saying, strive to become one with me, and thou shalt rejoice that I created thee. Strive to set up for thyself, and thy vanity shall in time pierce thee as a two-edged sword. Hear the love of thy Creator, O man, for I made thee with fondness for thy sons and daughters. Of love like my own I gave thee a part. And as thou sendest to thy wayward son, beseeching him to return to thee, so do I bring my messengers from higher worlds to call thee. And that thou mayest not mistake their higher place, I gave them power and wisdom surpassing thee. The voice ceased, and then the initiates said, henceforth I will serve only thee, O Eoe, nor will I more think what shall become of me. For I know thou wilt appropriate me wisely, O Eoe. According as the stone is hewn and polished, so wilt thou put it in the walls of thy house. My labor is to hew and polish and perfect my own soul forever. My soul shall become as a shining star, my love like thy Ethereal angels, and plain my raiment and clean forever. No more will I boast, nor speak untruth forever, nor sloth attain me, nor vanity, nor self, nor will I talk of myself, nor criticize my brethren, nor my neighbors, for they are thine, O Eoe. to do righteous works and lift up my fellows shall be my labor henceforth forever. Make me strong in thee, O Eoe, and wise to do thy will forever. Amen. Uncle JB, Grand Rising. Chapter 6, where we at? Yeah, we're gonna finish this, y'all. May go a few minutes over, but this is so good. I don't want to split this up. Okay. So, chapter 6. Yes, sir. Yes.
You can go get me some oatmeal.
Give me a few minutes. I'm almost done, Sootie. All right? Go wash your face and brush your teeth. So great were the words and music of the ceremonies that the people were entranced beyond measure. The old and divided kingdoms, which were without unity and discipline, were now replaced by extreme sanctity and decorum. Su said, "Hear me, O God, I will counsel thee further." Let me tell you something. Su was about his business. If there ever was a general or a captain or somebody left in charge of our brother and an older brother who took the wisdom of his father to get the younger siblings in line, Su was that. Come through, Su. Look. So great were the words and music of the ceremonies that the people were entranced beyond measure. The old and divided kingdoms, which were without unity and discipline, were now replaced by extreme sanctity and decorum. Su said, "Hear me, O God, I will counsel thee further. Know then that the false gods and false lords have gone off to build up kingdoms of their own, nor know they what happened in Horeb. Suffer them to proceed until they have purified the corporeans from familiars and fetals. But when they have finished, call thou another festival to all these people, and also send word to the false gods and false lords who deny Jehovah, the all-person, and they will come, bringing their slaves, having themselves adorned in extravagant raiment and jewelry. For they will expect by their pageantry to triumph over all other gods and men, hoping to carry back with them millions of subjects. God said, I perceive, O Su, son of Jehovah. So God did as commanded, and sure enough, in course of time, the false gods and false lords stripped the barbarians of the earth of their familiars and fetals, making slave of such spirits in heaven. And it came to pass that God gave another festival, and it was greater than the first. And there were present upward of 3,000 million angels who had become enlisted in righteous works. This was the beginning of the 3rd year of Su, and his wisdom and power were now manifested all around the world, on earth and in heaven. And this is what happened in reference to the false gods and false lords who came to the festival, equipped in chariots and ships, with the banners and flags and crowns and diadems and such wonderful extravagances, the like of which had not been in heaven since the flood. And each and every false god and false lord endeavored to outdo the other in show and parade. It's kind of like when people get stuff, it's like, oh, they might think I'm something. I'm gonna roll up here in a Benz or in a Porsche, get my jewelry all flashing and stuff, and we're gonna entrance them, you know. And so they're gonna be like, oh man, you got this. Oh, y'all must be. It's all an illusion, my G.
That's good.
It's all an illusion. People do it in business all the time. Like we deal with people. It's like, why y'all still rolling around? It's funny because people ask my husband this all the time. Why y'all still driving around in them same trucks y'all done had? Although I upgraded my truck, but nothing like big and flashy. Why don't y'all get like the newer models? Y'all can afford it. You know what? We learned some wisdom from, let's call it old money people, right? Think about the people, like even, what's his name, Steve Jobs, like different people like that. We ain't got time for none of that flashy stuff. The money that we have that we would put towards these high price vehicles and stuff, especially if I ain't got a high class business where I'm using my cars as an asset, that's going to become a doodad, something that's going to take money from my pocket. And if I'm not getting this high price, flashy vehicle to make me money in a business, I'm not going to get it. I'll take that money and put it into an investment. And something that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki, he said every time he wanted to get something flashy, it was all, y'all never really hear about Robert Kiyosaki's wife, but she was a bad mama jamma. She is a bad mama jamma. And she helped, although he had his teachers, his rich dad and his poor dad teaching him, but he also got a wife who was full of wisdom. And he said every time he wanted to buy something flashy or a brand new car or something, his wife said, okay, you can get the car, right? You can get the Porsche, you can get the Ferrari, but in order to get the Ferrari, you need to get an investment and let the money that's made from that investment get you that car. So now you're not taking money out of our pocket. You're getting it from the profits from a money maker that we have that's going to keep money flowing in our house. And so that's why we choose to ride around in older vehicles that we ain't got no car notes on. And now look, we done had a couple vehicles repoed from us, running from the repo man, hiding it up the street around the corner. Look, can I park my car in your garage? Bruh, coming to work one look.
Man, listen, or just, hey, babe, you take the car, just ride around all day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Babe, I'm tired. I want to go lay down. Girl, if you don't keep on driving around that car, because as soon as you slow down and you park, get out, going to the store or something, they're going to take it. Man, look, we learn from the things we suffer. So that's why we won't be trying to be all big and flash, you know, that is for the unlearned, for those who don't really know where they're going in life. We got 6 children. We're trying to build an empire. All that flashy stuff can come from our investments, right? We're taking our little bit of change that we got and we putting it into something where we're going to let our money work for us, and it's going to profit us something where we can build an empire and then leave an inheritance to our children, right? And we'll get the flash in this. The money that we can get from our investments is kind of like a thermometer on how well we're doing, right? All right, babe. Love you too. And if our investments aren't making enough to help us get some of this flashy stuff we want, we might need to reconsider the investments that we're investing in, right? Yeah, Jen, thank you. That's how millionaires do it. They keep their money, right? I'm trying to keep more money in my pocket and pass it along and teach my children, right? And we don't want to enable children to go and blow your whole empire that you spend all your years building up, right? Sometimes we realize we have enabled our children, right? Maybe you need to get out here and go look tell our oldest son, which is why he's currently not working for us. He'll work for us on the weekend. Maybe you need to go work for the man for you to really appreciate how good you have it over here. Because sometimes your children tend to be like, oh, mom and dad own the company, or I can do this and I can do that. I can show up late. I can do this and I don't have to do this. Do you know who I am? I am the owner's son. You who? You fired. That's what you are right now. You are fired. You don't have a job. Go out here and work for the man, right? Oldest son, get a couple different jobs. Oh my God. Mother, they're working me like a Hebrew slave. Really? Now you know how I feel. He done got fired a couple times. I mean, not this last one. He been doing really good. He didn't held it solid, got benefits and everything. We do plan to bring our son back into the fold, back into the kingdom. But you need to learn a few lessons that, you know, you didn't necessarily want to take from us, as we was just kind of freely giving you the wisdom. Now it's like you got to learn through school of hard knocks. I mean, we still here watching and making sure, okay, we'll help you here and there. We ain't gonna let you fall, you know, but some places you need to fall. You need to really realize what this is, right? So you don't take advantage of stuff. Same thing, same process here in life, right? With the spirits growing. Sometimes you need to go into bondage. I'm still here. I'm gonna hear you cry, but you need a little bit of discipline, my child, my children, my chosen people. Israel, into Egypt you go, right? Because they get hard-headed, don't like to listen to you. Do you know who I am? Do you? Wait, where y'all going? Hey. See you later, son. See you later, daughter. You had all that mouth. Go ahead and prove to them what you about, right? Bruh. It's called humbling and growth. Okay, let me keep going. Okay. Where was I at? Yeah, I don't even remember where I was at for real. Hold on. For real, y'all. I really forgot my place. I used it for my juice. I was juicing last night, Pootie. I really forgot my place, y'all. Hold on. What's the time? Okay, wait. Beginning of the 3rd year. Earth and heaven. False gods. Oh, yeah. Coming with the flashy stuff. Okay. That's why I stopped. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Verse 5 on page 93. And this is what happened in reference to the false gods and false lords who came to the festival equipped in chariots and ships with banners and flags and crowns and diadems and such wonderful extravagances, the like of which had not been in heaven since the flood. And each and every false god and false lord endeavored to outdo the others in show and parade. As might be expected, the first day of the festival, neither won their applause nor censure. The second day, they ceased to attract attention, for the thrift and purity and wisdom manifested in countless millions of the second resurrection caused even children to receive more praise than the gods and lords with all their glitter and show. Oh, what a dagger to the very depths of the heart. On the 3rd day, one half, it reminded me of like what Pharaoh said to Moses at the beginning of the pledge. So he was like, but you had to read this portion of the part in, what's the book we read? The Legends of the Jews. When Moses first came out there with the different signs and wonders and stuff, Pharaoh said, bruh, our children know how to do better magic than that. Listen. As might be expected, the first day of the festival, neither won their applause nor censure. The second day, they ceased to attract attention, for the thrift and purity and wisdom manifested in the countless millions of the second resurrection caused even children to receive more praise than the gods and lords with all their glitter and show. Yeah, don't spill that. Okay. On the 3rd day, one half of the false gods and false lords cast aside their adornments and appeared in plain white, pleading to be initiated into the mysteries of the second resurrection. Oh, hold on. Maybe I'm going to have to use something with being initiated in today's title, y'all. This is absolutely amazing. I know I'm a book nerd, y'all. Y'all forgive me. I get super hype with 26 letters of the alphabet and how you can... This is nothing but 26 letters, y'all. 26 letters and what? 9, 10 numbers. All together. Put together and re-put together in different forms to create different words. Words endless. And it's the beautiful parade that it creates. The parade of the 26 letters, it amazes me beyond all amazement. Okay, let me keep going. On the 3rd day, one half of the false gods and false lords cast aside their adornments and appeared in plain white, pleading to be initiated into the mysteries of the second resurrection. And on the day following, the rest of them came also, seeking like admission. Whereupon the light of Jehovah spake through God on the throne, saying, Bethink ye, O gods and lords, what are ye doing? But as yesterday ye asked for kingdoms.
Open for me.
Yeah, what are you about to do with this? Oh, why don't you? It ain't that much in there, girl. Okay. Hurry up. Oh, the bag is loud. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You got it? You think you got it? Okay. How about you do that over here, not on my bed? Right here, right here. Sit it up there and do it. Okay. Verse 9. Bethink ye, O gods and lords, what are ye doing? But as yesterday ye asked for kingdoms, desiring to be leaders and great workers over and above your fellows, and ye obtained your desires, becoming gods and lords over millions. And these became your dutiful subjects, and ye adorned your thrones and your persons in great splendor. Behold, I gave a festival, and ye came as living witnesses of what self-made gods and lords could accomplish. And your dutiful subjects came with you to attest their loyalty and good faith in your wisdom and power. Now have ye cast aside your crowns and high estate, praying to become workers amongst hosts of men and women? Are ye not mad? Are ye not making yourselves the destroyers of your own subjects? For behold, because of your abjuration and self-pomp and self-glory, all your subjects are cast aside in ignorance and misery. With one voice, the self-gods and self-lords answered, saying, Alas, O God, what shall we do? Our crowns we can give away, our raiment and jewels and our thrones and kingdoms. But, O God, we cannot give away our subjects. They will not go. We have bound them to us, and we are bound to them because we accepted them. What shall we do, O God? The burden is more than we can bear. It's like they won't go nowhere. Like we want to become as least in the kingdom, but they won't go nowhere. We told them that we were God, because we know we not. But we told them that, right? We sorry. But we told them that. Now they won't go nowhere. How do we get rid of them? With one voice, the self-gods and self-lords answered, saying, Alas, O God, what shall we do? Our crowns we can give away, our raiment and jewels, and our thrones and kingdoms. But, O God, we cannot give away our subjects. They will not go. We have bound them to us, and we are bound to them because we accepted them. What shall we do, O God? The burden is more than we can bear. God said, Be not disconsolate, O gods and lords. Ye have done a great work. Ye have rescued millions and millions of familiars and fetals. And even before ye applied for the resurrection, behold, most of your subjects had already deserted you. Hear the judgment of your Creator, which is that when all your subjects and fetals are risen in wisdom and virtue and good works, so as to take the second resurrection, even on that same day shall ye be promoted. For only until then can ye have freedom of soul. They're sweating the field, ain't they, Jen? Look. The voice ceased, and the self-gods and self-lords answered, Thou art just, O Jehovah. We will go to work amongst our poor and ignorant subjects and make them comprehend thy wisdom, power, and justice. For 10 days the festival lasted, and then it ended. Thus were the first established rites and ceremonies in the lower heaven as a power to work wisdom and virtue. And from that time ever after, music and marching and dancing were included in all ceremonies by the gods and lords of heaven. And that's the last chapter, y'all, chapter 7. In the 5th year of Su, he dispatched swift messengers to Apen-Tevach in Etheria, saying, Thus saith Su, God of 2 Etherian worlds, Behold, I am sojourning on the earth, and with the God of heaven and his lords, and have prepared 1,000 million brides and bridegrooms for Jehovah's Etherian harvest. Greeting to Nista of Ho and Tawin, goddess, in the name of Jehovah. Send in Aravengana and complete the resurrection of the fathers, brides, and bridegrooms. So it came to pass in Etheria, the goddess Nista provided an Aravagna, an Etherian, it's a ship. It's an Etherian ship, resolving to come as commander-in-chief. Su advised God, saying, Make thou of this matter a great testimony in thy heaven. Send therefore thy messengers into all parts, and to thy lords on the earth, inviting all people to be present to witness the ascent of Jehovah's brides and bridegrooms. God did as commanded, and on the day of the appearance of Nista, daughter of Jehovah, in her sonship in the firmament, there were assembled in Horeb countless millions of souls inspired of Jehovah. Great was the rejoicing and manifestations of delight when the sonship came in full view, descending like a world on fire. And when she passed Chinvan and was fully within the earth's vortex, the enthusiasm of the people knew no bounds. They sang and prayed and danced and clapped their hands as if mad with delight. Meantime, the brides and bridegrooms had been arrayed in Ethereal white and were now saluting those with whom they were soon to leave. Right, so learning a little bit about initiation and everything. When you go in, when you're initiated into a new chapter or a new phase in life, or into the second resurrection, or into this secret thing, you are stripped of all you ever were, which symbolizes the white. Like you're a clean, you're a blank slate, right? So you're in all white. Think the Bible, Revelations. They were clothed in white, meaning that they had they graduated from here, and now they're entering into the next phase. Like your robes have to be pure white and clean. They can't be dirty. They can't be spots, wrinkles, or anything in it. That would mean you're not ready for this next phase. We got to iron those out. We got to remove the spots. Your robe needs to be completely white, right? Because you need that space in order to grow, because you're going to get badges along the way and insignias. This is like your uniform starting off, like in the military. You don't have any, you get a plain uniform. All you get is your name. All you get is your name on your uniform, right? You get a clean, and although the uniforms aren't white, except for Navy, right? You have your dress whites. And even those who get dress whites, when you go in the ceremony, there's nothing except for your name, right? But as you grow and as you learn, as you develop, you pass tests and different things, you can gain different insignias on your collar, on your chest, and everybody can see at what level you are. You can get chevrons on your arm, right, which declares your rank and what you've done to everybody who sees you. And we know at what level of your initiation you're currently in, right? It's an honor. It really is. All right. Okay. They sang and prayed and danced and clapped their hands as if mad with delight. Meantime, the brides and bridegrooms had been arrayed in Ethereal white and were now saluting those whom they were soon to leave. Quietly, the Ethereal hosts filled their part in the great play of the immortal resurrection, very gods and goddesses in demeanor. Nearer and nearer came Nista in her sonship, slowly turning and descending with 10,000 curtains suspended waving, and 10 times 10,000 banners and flags waving above the ground. And then slowly down, lower and lower, till the Aravagna rested on the plateau of Horeb to the south of the temple of Jehovah. Gasitivi, marshalless to the throne of Su, marshalless to the throne of Su, and Izraka, with 10,000 deputies, went forward and with open arms received Nista, goddess descended, saluting with the sign of the star and square, having been warm friends 200,000 years in the plains of Oyad in the Ethereal Estu of Haidan, the spiritual center of the orbit of the great serpent, when in Zagagawakatha. The Isinars of both hosts were chanting, and the angels of the Ervingana coming forth in hundreds of thousands to be saluted by the previously trained brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah and by the host of Su, the Ethereal laborers. And when Nista came up to the throne, God and great Su rose up amidst the light, now fast gathering as a mantle of brilliant fire over the place of council. Su said, "All hail, O Nista, Jehovah's daughter." God said, "In Jehovah's name, welcome, O Nista." To which Nista answered, saying, "By the wisdom and power of Jehovah, O my beloved." And Su and God parted. And Nista ascended and sat in the midst of the throne. After the ceremonies of salutation, Nista said, "Let the brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah approach the throne." I'm noticing this. You remember that military days? Listen, I notice every time there is a ceremony where they're graduating or graduating at the second resurrection, there's always, at least up until this point of us reading, there's always a goddess that leads the ceremony. Like the current god ruling steps down from his throne. The goddess is called in from another world, and she comes, they greet, they have this greeting ceremony, and then when the ceremony or the festivities begin for the actual crowning or the graduation, the goddess always takes the throne, right? This time it's Nista. I forget the goddess' name. Actually, it's two other ones that we've read in the previous pages of this, that every time they had the ceremony, they would come up. I forget how to pronounce their name, but it's there. Okay. Okay, verse 13. And Su and God parted, and Nista ascended and sat in the midst of the throne. After the ceremonies of salutation, Nista said, "Let the brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah approach the throne of God." The marshals then ushered them to their places, 1,000,000,000, and the swift messengers bounded them on all sides, so that the responses should be uniform and as if spoken by one person. Whereupon Nista spake from the throne, and the brides and bridegrooms responded in the usual form of gods and goddesses, and then took the necessary vows and renunciations of the earth and lower heaven according to Jehovah's commandments. Right, so so you got those that when they don't do that, when they graduate from here, remember, when we learned before, when they leave this earth or when they take their last breath here and they graduate for a period of what we would call 5 years, the newly departed, if they're following the proper plan, they depart here for a period of 5 years, right? And it has to be that long of a period to kind of break like the earthly affection hold that we have to this life, so they don't come back and cling themselves onto family members and become familiar spirits and fetals, right? And it actually explained that, I forget which chapter, it explained why it had to be 5 years. Anything other than that, it impedes their growth. And now you got to go through remedial classes, right? And we got to send you to, I forgot, start with an H. It's not hell, but Christianity calls it hell, but it's not that. And now you have to be delivered of this, and we have to ungraft you from your human people that are still in the earth school, right? This is so good, y'all. Listen. Then the marshals did, we almost done, we literally only got like a few more verses. The marshals then ushered them to their places, 1,000,000,000, and the swift messengers bounded them on all sides, so that the responses should be uniform and as if spoken by one person. Whereupon Nista spake from the throne, and the brides and bridegrooms responded in the usual form of gods and goddesses, and then took the necessary vows and renunciations of the earth and lower heaven according to Jehovah's commandments. Yes.
Where did God go after your house?
Yeah, real quick, but then we gotta go do something else. When the ceremonies, Dad coming back to pick us up shortly. When the ceremonies were finished, God proclaimed one day of recreation, which was participated in joyously by upward of 4,000,000,000 souls. Yes.
I'm excited to be in our work job.
You excited to be in our work job? I know you are, girl. She was helping us load trucks yesterday.
No, I mean not that one. I mean the other one you said.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
The other one that you want me to do.
Put that on your lips, because we're about to end this in a few minutes. Put that comments on your lips, girl. Okay.
This is almost the end.
Yes, this is the end right here. I only got like 4 more verses. Shh.
And this is 5.
Listen. 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically 6. Okay, shh. Listen. Let me go back up. It's going to be 7, so I'm going to reread this over. Verse 16. So on the next day, Nista and her host with the 1,000,000,000 brides and bridegrooms entered the Vagna. I keep having a problem with that word. It's the spaceship. They entered into the ship, the Etherian ship. Amidst the cheers and weeping of millions of atmospherians who had never witnessed so grand a spectacle. And then Nista, by the power of the Great Spirit, set her ship in motion, raised it up from the lower heaven, moved it upward by her command, saying, "Arise, arise, Ara Vagna. By my will, arise. Embrace thou the realms of great Jehovah. Arise." The Esenars and trumpeters were singing and playing, and those ascending threw down flowers and perfumes and all manner of pleasant remembrances to the countless millions below. In a little while, the Ara Vagna disappeared in high heaven. This then is what followed of Sue's ministration, to wit.
I think I'll add something.
Go ahead, try and call Dad. Go ahead, go over there. This then is what followed of Sue's ministration, to wit. When the end of dawn had come, and after dawn has reference number 5, or dawn, in the previous version it was Dan Ha. When the end of the Dan Ha, or the end of dawn had come, that is, the 6 years, he delivered gods and lords, and another 1,000,000,000 brides and bridegrooms, taking them into the extreme borders of Izraka, where was assigned the Aegean field of Rutsu with 12 Etherian worlds. And Su left maybe T-Hi. And Su left T as the anointed god of the lower heaven for the next 400 years. And God Tahi anointed lords for the divisions of the earth, the same as had been heretofore. So now, after Su reigns T, or T-Hi. I think the H-I might be silent. Tie, it could be tie, like high. Put the T in front of it, tie. We're going to call it tie. So tie and God, tie, anointed lords for the divisions of the earth, the same as had been heretofore. And the earth and heaven prospered, so that in the Dan following, there were raised up 2,000,000,000 brides and bridegrooms. From this time on, there was a decree in the Etherian harvest for 2,000 years. From this time on, there was a decree in the Etherian harvest for 2,000 years, after which time there came great darkness on the earth and heaven belonging to it, and self-gods filled all atmosphere. And as for lords, there rose up in every nation on earth thousands and thousands, so that men and angels knew not if there were a true God or true Lord in all the universe. End of the book of Su, son of Jehovah. And after universe, it has reference 6, and it says, thus ended the cycle of Su, being 3,200 years. Man, it seemed like we in that same, it's like the cycle keeps repeating itself, right? So now it's like we're awakening now to the information again from after this 2,000 years of darkness, my G, right? We familiar with that 2,000 years, right? They said it's been 2,000 years since Jesus died on the cross and rose again since he walked the earth. No, baby girl, right? By all of that, I believe is alluding to the bigger story of what's happening, the different cycles. Okay. So that is it for today, beautiful people. That is the end of the book of Su. That was so good. Wait, hold on. Do we gotta go back? Let me just go back to the beginning of the book of Su. Yes, I'm sorry. When we come back, we're not gonna be here tomorrow. We gotta go back to the beginning of the book of Su, and then we gotta go down below it and read the Lord's second book. So the book of Su, Bella, stop. The book of Su was telling us what happened in the heavenly realm. So when we come back, we're going to find out what was happening simultaneously in the lower realms on earth, right? Okay, so this is good. I like how they did this. This is becoming one of my favorite books. It really is. Okay, we literally, the Lord's second book, It's literally 3 chapters, but they are super short. They're like super short. So we definitely, when we come back Monday, we're going to read all of the Lord's second book. It's really short. And it said, being contemporaneous with the book of Su, son of Jehovah, as the latter is chiefly of the angels in heaven, so is the Lord's book of man on the earth. Now, I'm going to probably read this. I'm probably going to go ahead and read. I'm probably going to read this once I end this today while I'm waiting for my husband to come pick us up. But it's like I said, it's really short. You can probably read it in like 10 minutes. So we definitely going to finish that. All right. But that's it for today, y'all. Let me make myself a note. Yes, baby. Hold on. Let me get my page number at the end of the book of Su. The book of Su is friggin' amazing, y'all.
Mom, we're far away, look.
It's funny. My husband joked me all the time about my love for books. Not that he joked me about my love for books, but he was like, this girl give her last dime, she'll forego her meal to get a book. I sure will. I don't know. I don't know. I love the 26 letters of the alphabet. Like, I'm like, if I could be anything, I want to be a great teacher. I'm like, even when we go, I was like, you could just make me the librarian in heaven or something. Like, I'm kind of joking like that. I was like, I'd be completely sufficient. Put me in a university or something, because I just want to know all the stories. And even growing up, my dad, I call him a great storyteller, but my daddy always had some kind of story for you, whether it was joke or not necessarily pranks or anything, but he always had a story for you, right? And even up until his last days, he always had little funny stories. So I call him the great storyteller. But that's something that I really took a liking to, and also his love for reading, but not just him, but my mom and my dad are kind of like bookworms. They're like information heads. They love to read, right? So we get that honestly, and I think that was passed on to all 4 of their children. It's 4 of us, and all of us have a love for reading. My sister Alicia, Sherry, and my brother Jonathan, right? We have libraries. We just love it. Okay, y'all. I'm just like a kid at Christmas. Don't give me a book, right? Because this will take me a whole lot further than these little other gifts and stuff. That information I can store in my head, and it can help me navigate my way here, right? Y'all, I'm going to go ahead and end this because I'll be talking all day about 26 letters of the alphabet. All right, y'all. It is Saturday, May the 14th. 2022, day 108 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1126. And all we read today was the book of Su in the Oahspe, page 90 to page 94. We only read 4 pages, about 5 pages. Girl.
We can end it.
Listen. All right. Girl, go cut Cardi B off. Go. Girl, what is that? Believe it or not, I like Cardi B. What is that turning around? Oh, I thought that was a whatchamacallit. Girl, put it down. They call her ratchet, but I don't know. She makes me laugh. She got good beats and music and stuff, and granted, it ain't conducive for soul growing, right? But sometimes you just need that ratchet to come out. You know. Growing up, really, I liked the rap. I'm gonna share a little bit with you. I mean, not too much about the end of this. Growing up, I really did. I liked women. I mean, I still do. I don't know. Rapping, people who do music, I don't know. It's because they have a certain gift with the 26 letters that completely captivates me. It's like how you have 26 letters in the alphabet, and especially the rappers who can just like flow. Wonder what you would do with the other 26 letters. The other 26 letters? What you mean the other 26 letters? Look, it's more than 26 letters? What you mean? Like, am I missing some letters? Like, is there a whole nother world with additional 26 letters? Bruh. All right, look, but yeah. it amazes me. Even those who like do poetry and stuff, it's like they have a way with words, right? What does he call them? Psalmstress. I could probably say that wrong. Psalmstress, rappers. It's like I don't know. It's like the flow. Cause sometimes I had to speak a little slow. When I get excited, I speak fast. But to just come up with something super fast and spit it. It's like the connection with your mind and your mouth. It amazes for another time. Okay. I'm going to be looking for that time, right? It amazes me how all they can connect. Like, that's a gift. That is an amazing gift to me. Those that have the gift of creating music and just being able to connect the fastness of the mind and the mouth together to convey a message and a story and put it in music with the sound and frequency and literally change your life. That blows my mind like none other. Okay, girl, let's go. I get excited about words. Okay, let's go ahead and end this. May y'all bless you all. Come back and rewatch this video. I'm going to rewatch this video, especially some of the stuff at the beginning when we was talking about like cotillion and the coming of age ceremony. She about to end me. All right. May y'all bless you all. I love y'all. See y'all Monday.